Hi to everyone. I'm TCHOUTAT Lionel. I'm based in Cameroon, where I've been working in the medical field for over 12 years now. It's been a while. We embarked on a project, and we have been trying to renovate some hospitals, and it was in that line that we decided to write some papers in order to share our experience about what is happening, for instance, in the failures in project coordination and management of these such huge activities like infrastructures. So this project was carried out in Yaoundé, more precisely, Yaoundé, Cameroon, and it entailed the renovation of the hospital teaching hospital, and the various parties involved in the project were the Ministry of Public Health, Cameroon, Alliance Construction Cameroon, Caesar Production, and Light Technologies Forever. These were the entities responsible for the renovation of the CSST aspect of the hospital. So there was a centralized sterile service department in the hospital, which we had to renovate alongside other facilities. So the description of the project, as you can see, our role in the project was to equip the CSST with equipment like steam sterilizer, endoscope, reprocessing unit, thermal welder, washer disinfectors. For that reason, it was of prime importance to collaborate with the various parties, knowing that there was a project manager, there was a contractor responsible for the infrastructure, there was somebody responsible for electrification, there was a plumber. So all these parties had to come together in synergy in order to put in place their know-how so as to bring forth a solution which would be beneficial to the patient, knowing that all our efforts, all our joint efforts is geared towards the proper management of the patient, the survival of the patient. So owing to the poor interpretation of our layout, the spreadsheet was provided on which there was a summary of various requirements. So apparently along the line, we had the impression that people were not really versed with the interpretation of our requirements. So as you can see, there were two proposals, knowing that at the creation of the hospital some 30 years ago, more than 30 years ago, at that moment, the construction of the hospital didn't take into consideration the standards, putting into place standards, that is the separation of the clean, the dirty, and the sterile area. So the picture which you can see on the left of the screen shows our installation, our proposed layout following the existing structure, that is, no destruction of infrastructure. That we bring the machine and install as it was, without taking into consideration the present standards as to the construction of CSSTs. The picture on your right will show a proposed layout to be implemented, trying to implement international standards towards the construction of CSST. In this case, many walls were supposed to be destroyed, were supposed to bring forth a number of costs and adjustment of the facility. So we brought these two layouts so that the project manager and together with the technical coordinator of the hospital would take a decision following the available fund. So to our greatest surprise, the picture on the left was instead chosen. They didn't want to destroy, they didn't want to spend more money on the implementation of standards. As failures to the proper execution of the project, we had quite a number of them. There was poor communication between the contractor, the hospital technical coordinator, and the equipment manufacturer. So there was also equally a poor observance of deadlines by builders, leading to an accrued storage cost of equipment before installation. There was also this aspect of regular change of site manager, which also brought at the change of the site manager, the new one always had a time to get acquaint himself with the present situation. There was also non-transmission of technical drawings. So we provided a number of drawings which were not transmitted to the plumbers, the electricians, and equally the builders. So this also hindered the progress of the project. So as a result, the results which we had after a year of follow-up of the CSSD project, we were really disappointed because the work, as you can see on the picture, the top picture, you will see the poorly installed drain, which is completely out of the surface of the machine. So after 1 year of follow-up and trying to implement our requirements, the presence, the situation didn't change on the ground. So we were really dissatisfied with the situation of in which we found ourselves. There was no electrical wiring to the various machines installed, so we couldn't understand how such a project could be implemented, that the infrastructure has been commissioned without electrification. No water supplies to various machines were installed, whereas our technical drawings had been forwarded long ahead of time. There was also poor accessibility to the zone with the various machines. So we had this difficulty to access to gain access to the room because the doors were smaller than the machines. So you can bear with me how difficult we needed now to break the doors, break extra walls in order to gain access to the room. So poor synchronization of activities. Poor synchronization of activities was also one of our main challenges, leading to the hiring of a watchman to guard the machine. As you can see on the lower picture, the machines finally arrived on site, and given that the doors, the accessibility was not there, we had to park the machine, look for an area, park the machine, and the project manager had to bear the cost of the guard on himself because we couldn't go ahead taking all this cost upon ourselves, because after 1 year of follow-up, it was really unfair for us to be in this situation. That's a summary of what we have been doing in this project for over a year now, trying to see that the patients are treated in good condition, that the doctors in the operating theater, they try to work with sterile material, that sterility is the order of the day. But notwithstanding all our efforts, we have not been able to achieve our goals. We have really exceeded the time limit for the project, and we have been trying, and that's why we came up with this topic, such that entrepreneurs, project managers, technical coordinators in hospitals can put hand on them, so that each time we are going around with a renovation project, we can execute the projects within specified and allocated deadline with minimal cost, taking decisions on time. Thank you for your kind attention, and all the best for our jobs. Thank you.